All right, 3 takeaways from this episode. Number one, Kelly, do you have amnesia? You came for Portia last year. She's just now responding. See, the problem is y'all keep calling this woman dumb, but she keeps proving to us that she's not dumb. She may make stupid decisions, but Portia's not dumb. Secondly, K Michelle, I'm going to rip you apart in this review. You talking about people's looks is both laughable and super hypocritical. Super hypocritical. And Angela continues to eat Shamia up. Oh my gosh. She said, you sleep with the Sasquatch every night.
Welcome to the Asia Esterak Hour, where film meets conspiracy and pop culture gets a reality check. From sharp recaps to sci-fi theories and media deep dives, Asia Esterak serves it unfiltered. Let the binge begin.
All right. Welcome back to the Asia Esterak Hour. I'm Asia Esterak. All right. The Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 17, episode 9. Okay, so we are still at Phaedra's house for this sound bath with Kelly and Portia screaming at each other. Portia is yelling that Kelly, you know you slept with that married man on that plane. You know you did. And Kelly's screaming at her, I'm that bitch too, blah, blah, blah. She gets escorted off. What's crazy is it was funny because Angela's like, I don't know what was going on. And she's like, and Portia was sitting there yelling about this man. Who is he? I don't even know if Portia knows. I think Portia knows and she's not saying because she said in the last episode that the guy is one of Phaedra's clients. So the internet streets are saying allegedly that it's Shawnee O'Neal's current husband, who is a pastor. I cannot remember the guy's name. This is all alleged. It's what I was reading on the blogs this week. There's a lot going on the blogs this week, K Michelle. A lot going on. But anyway, so Portia's whole thing is she's over there screaming at me, keeps making these comments, and then she's waving this glass in my face. So, and we all know if you nucky Portia, she's going to buck back. We all are aware of that. So Kelly is over in, I guess, her green room, dressing room, wherever they are. That's right. They're at Phaedra's house. No green room or dressing room. Anyway, she's in there with Shamia. Ooh, Shamia gets on my nerves. Shamia, K Michelle, and Pinky. And she's basically like, no one's gonna make me crazy. And I'm not gonna give them the pains of what I've been dealing with this week. And of course, they flash back to her talking about her money woes and the child support stuff. You know, she's going through a tough time. But again, I have sympathy for you, Kelly, but you talk about money a lot and you talk about how much you spend. So it's hard for me to have empathy for someone when they consistently talk about not having money, but then they brag about how much something costs or how much they spend on it. You are counterintuitive to everything that you say sometimes, and it's frustrating. Even this whole situation with you and you and Portia, like the reality is you came at Portia last year with the married man shit. You jumped on that. You said it several times when you were friends with that Brit chick. Portia didn't say anything. You guys sat down, thought it was cool, brought it up again at the reunion. She let it go. But she waited. She waited and then she got her lick back. She just took her time getting her lick back. Again, you guys keep calling Portia dumb. Portia's not dumb. I think Portia plays the part very well. She plays the part of dumb. She probably was dumb and I would say Portia was more naive at first when she first came in with Cordell. And I think through all her trials and tribulations, if this makes any sense, she's failing better, if that makes any sense. Instead of failing backwards, she's failing upwards. She's doing something right. And she's been on reality TV long enough to know how the game works. So, Kelly, I think you underestimated your opponent. You over there, you're doing superficial judging, and it seems like she got some real tea on you because didn't you release a statement this week online with the whole married pastor stuff? I find that interesting because if it's not true and it didn't happen, why even feel the need to have a whole production addressing it? I thought that was really weird, but I don't care either way. But still, it's just like, on these shows, people forget if you throw a rock, you think somebody ain't gonna throw a fucking grenade or a bomb back? It's gonna happen. Anyway, So back inside, Portia and Phaedra and Drew and Angela are at the table and they're talking about what just happened. This is why I love Angela, because Angela's like, I feel like you know, you and K Michelle could have a conversation, because she's like, I sat with K Michelle a few days ago because I feel like we need to hear her. And she's right. Even though K can be ridiculous, you got to hear why someone's upset, hear their point of view, and then you can address whether right, wrong, or indifferent. There's a way of delegating and having a conversation. K Michelle is incapable of that. We've seen it. Even though I'll give her credit, last episode she was diplomatic. She really was, till she wasn't, but whatever. Um, but Angela's like, I feel like if you two speak again, which later gets brought up when Pinky, who won me over again this episode. All right, Pinky. I said I wanted you out last week. I changed my mind. I changed my mind. But anyway, so Portia's whole thing is like, I don't understand. I thought we were cool. I don't know, whatever. Um, Drew jumps in and Drew's like, I don't understand her issue with me. And Drew's like, I only addressed her because she was addressing me in the room as if I wasn't sitting there. So of course I'm gonna respond, which exactly, that's very passive aggressive, K Michelle. So don't get upset when you do that and then someone responds. And Drew's like, I don't get what her issue is with me. Um, my thing with K Michelle, this is when they go back to her back in the other room. Because eventually Phaedra leaves, she goes, and that's when she talks to the other group of ladies. Here's my thing with you, K Michelle. So in this scene, she's talking about Drew, and you're not giving a valid reason for why you're even coming at her. It doesn't make any sense. And your whole storyline right now makes no sense because it's unraveling in real time. She's sitting in her confessional calling Drew like a what'd she call her? Not a rat face, but like a stink face. Face, and making fun of her face. Drew Sidora's face card has never declined. No matter how one feels about her, she's a very pretty girl. She's super cute. She still looks great. Shape looks great. She's talented. She may not be to the level of what you deem to be talented, but she's still talented. She's a working actress, which is not easy to do in Hollywood. It's not. It's a blessing. So it's just funny. K Michelle, you a trip. You're a trip. You're over here talking about a chick's face and her looks when the reality is you had to buy your face. You had to buy your face, your current look. You bought that. You need to stop with that. You know what's crazy? You really are. You're a toxic Pisces, and you are literally the living human equivalent of a fish chasing its tail. You are literally going in a circle with yourself. You claim to want all of this acceptance and equality and to be treated a certain way and to be embraced by women, but you do the exact opposite of that every time. I was like, she really over here talking about somebody's looks? Girl, and I don't understand what your beef is with Drew. Clearly, you're jealous of her. Who knows why? Maybe you're mad because maybe you liked black or something. It's very stupid. And the reality is, you're sitting here beefing with two women on TV about two men that aren't yours, and you're married. And you over here calling people clowns and birds and bimbos. Girl, who's the real bimbo now? Stop that. Oh my God, that pissed me off. Anyway, So anyway, we get Shamia has a scene with her family. I Shamia just she comes off so inauthentic to me. She recaps what happened in Dallas and blah blah blah. I can't with Shamia. I cannot. So Phaedra invites over Kelly to her house, and Kelly basically apologizes for blowing up at her house during the sound bath. Um she also talks about how um just basically what she's going through with her divorce. And of course, her and Phaedra had a lot in common in this scene. But here's what's crazy. So Kelly's talking about she's talking about the Portia stuff, and it's like, again, you're failing to take accountability for what you did in your role in the situation. And I really feel like and I feel like that dusty ass, fake bestie friendship with Shamia doesn't help either. I think Shamia be running her mouth behind the scenes. I think it's pretty obvious she runs her mouth behind the scenes. I don't know, Shamia, you are not likable at all, love, at all. Um, Oh my god, but anyway, and this is the other thing too. Kelly loves to throw shade at Portia being dumb. It's such low-hanging fruit at this point. Like again, she's proven that she's not stupid. So let's stop. Stupid decisions, but she seems to come out on top every time. So I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Anyway, in this scene, we also learn that Kelly is really happy with this guy that she's dating, Jarvis. She seemed genuinely happy. This is the Kelly that I like to see, but I'm starting to understand. I'm starting to absorb even more why the fans are tired of her ass. Some people I can tolerate, but I just feel like her position on the show is you're either coming at another chick or you're conspiring behind another chick's back. It doesn't and then of course your whole marriage storyline, your divorce storyline, and that's it. I don't feel she's bringing enough to the show, and she's annoying. And this is to me one of the most divided Housewives seasons since when Nene and them all went to Africa when it was the talls and the smalls. Like this season is very divided. Um very divided. So Pinky, Angela, and Cynthia meet up. Um there's a photo shoot with Pinky's daughter, and Angela brings her daughter. First of all, Pinky's daughter is super cute. She looks just like her dad. She's so cute. And she actually released the photos yesterday on her Instagram. Really cute photo. Love the outfit in the green. Really cute. Angela's daughter with Charles, super cute as well. I wish we would have got more screen time with her. So they come in. Cynthia comes in and kind of shows them a few poses. That was cute. So anyway, they go in the back and they're updating Cynthia what happened at the sound bath after she left. And of course, so they're flashing back to K Michelle talking about her and Portia's mutual ex and those two talking, which in real time last week, the guy that they're talking about was the dude I guess she was dating on the Queen's Court. Uh he went on a podcast and he's saying none of that's true. Him and K Michelle didn't even really date like that. He's like, I don't know that lady. I thought it was messy that he even went on a podcast, but then again, he's like, my name got brought up, or I got brought up into the conversation, so I felt the need to respond. I don't recall them ever saying your name, sir. But either way, it's very messy. K Michelle releasing that audio recording, which actually made her look even more guilty. I was like, this is a mess. I'm not going to get too much into that because that's not on the show, but it's attached to it. But anyway, so in this scene, they're they're talking about just the fiasco of what happened. It was funny. Cynthia goes, I'm just glad that I left me and these cheekbones. I love when she mentions her cheekbones. But all that being said, Pinky talks about how she went to Portia's house. I like that Pinky put on the like mature cap and like took the bull by the horns and wanted to be a mediator. And I think she broke through because she talks about going to Portia's house and talking to her. They kind of got into it a little bit because she was holding Portia accountable. But it seems that they got around that, and Portia said that she would be open to having a conversation with K Michelle. What was interesting too, and I forgot to add this at the top of the episode, when Kay and Pinky and all of them were leaving Phaedra's house in that van together, Pinky did tell K Michelle, she said, I actually think you and Portia could be friends. You guys just need to work through whatever this is. So anyway, in this scene, Cynthia's like, I think you two, talking about her and Angela, you got, you two seem to be the neutral ones in the group. You guys can bring these ladies together. Angela does mention that there's still the tension with her and Shamia. And her thing is Shamia keeps bringing up old stuff. And she's right. That's because Shamia don't get past shit. We learned that at the last reunion. She sits, Shamia daps it up, hugs it out like everything's cool. And then meanwhile, she's still hotter than fish grease about whatever said situation is. So that's a part of that fake shit. I really don't think Shamia knows who she really is or what she wants to be. Um and that is and I'm not even being shady. I think that's sad for a woman in her 40s. It just seems like she's got all these identity crises, which brings us to our next scene. So she meets up with Kelly at the dentist. Kelly's dude Jarvis is paying for her teeth. $70,000 smile, good for her. Any dentists out there that want to support me? Because I need to get my whole mouth done. I got teeth missing, the whole nine. Support me. Send me a man, God, that'll give me a new smile. Anyway, I'm not mad at it. But in this scene, though, like Shamia is just this is what I mean by no identity and just fake. So she comes in like she's 14. She jumps on Kelly's lap while she's on the like the operating the dental chair. She's like sitting in her lap, just you know, here's how is my favorite bestie, my new bestie. Like we're almost 45 years old talking about my new bestie. I can't. Anyway, in this scene, Jarvis, Kelly's dude calls, they talk to him. This maybe okay, I didn't like this. Perhaps I'm just being a prude and I'll take it on the chin. So Shamia's like, with the man buying you a $70,000 smile, they're gonna have to give him 70,000 worth of, BJs. And then Kelly's like laughing and she's like, yeah, well, I've done about 15 so far. I just found that so cringy. Like, why? Obviously, we know what that is, and people do that, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't like that. And it's funny coming from both of them because imagine if somebody they didn't like had said that, they would have jumped all over them. Anyway, maybe perhaps I'm doing too much, but I was just like, my face on that. Anyway, so Drew and her team meet up. So Drew has a new manager, and the manager wants to meet with the team and basically cut the fat, see what's going on. They need to be more cohesive. So Drew has a big team. I didn't realize how much work she actually does. I've talked a lot of shit about Drew, and I feel like this season we're really seeing more of her. I actually think she's in a better place. I mentioned it every review. This was a good scene. So basically, it's her manager. She has both her assistants, her stylist, her hairdresser, her makeup artist, her driver, who's also one of her assistants. The driver slash assistant was fighting with the hairstylist. They were throwing shade at each other. This was a good scene because it didn't seem fake at all. It seemed like they all really do work together. And she brought up examples of different situations where they've been at shows and she's learned about the drama either after the show or before, whatever. And is it me or this would be a really great spinoff. They gave Candy all those spinoffs of her shows. This group right here, this would be a good spinoff. I would watch this. I think the new manager is going to be good for them because she was not here for any of the shenanigans. She was not here for any of it. That was a good scene though. And it was interesting to see that Drew is actively doing her music and she's a working actress. She's out here hustling. I wish that you had leaned more with that before instead of catering to the messiness. But again, you're not here to I was going to say you're not here to entertain me. I guess you are, but whatever. I'm slowly starting to like Drew Sidora. I really like her this season and I like that scene. Okay, so Portia, Pinky, K. Michelle, and I believe is it Angela? It was either Angela or Cynthia. No, Angela and Cynthia. They all meet up. And no, child, I'm sorry. Cynthia, Pinky, Portia, K. Michelle. They all meet up. And basically this whole situation is to get Kay and Portia to talk. Um, this was a funny scene because I feel like Pinky's personality, she comes in, she can give it a little hot, but she can take it too because she snapped a little bit at Portia in this scene, but then she reeled it back in because Portia jumped back at her. I actually think that I think these two could I think she could work with the show. At first I felt like maybe I don't know, but I don't know. I think she works well with this group. Anyway, they talk about how they agree that they do want to talk. So those two get up. Cynthia and Pinky leave and let Portia and K Michelle chat. So they chat, they kind of squash their beef for now. Of course, we all know that that beef is reignited times 1,000. I can't wait for this reunion. This reunion is going to be so lit. Um, but basically, K Michelle just wanted to be heard. She's able to have Portia receive what she's saying. They apologize, they squash it, whatever. Everybody looked great in this scene. Uh my problem with this scene though is K Michelle, it's like it seemed like it was resolved here. So I'm curious what sparked it up again. Was it rewatching it again back with everybody? And I'm not even gonna blame that on Kay. I feel like that would be hard for anyone to be on this type of platform where you do makeup. And one thing I do want to add before I get off this scene and get to the soon to be main event. Um, After they make up, Cynthia and Pinky come back to the table and they're like, oh, so they sit back down and then they start talking about, so was the scheme, whatever, was it resolved? And then Portia turns to Kay Michelle and she's like, do you really think we were trying to set you up? So Kay explains how she feels. She said no. She says that it's Drew, Tubi, Sedora, and then tries to backtrack and say she likes Tubi movies. But she's saying that she heard it from another party that Drew was digging up information on her. Girl, the only person digging up information on you is you. You're just making this shit up once again. It's too much. And it's so weird. The reality is, and I was telling my friend Tatiana this, we had a whole conversation. Kay, you think that Drew Sidora is weak. You think she's weak. You thought she was an easy target, is somebody easy to come for. And what's funny is even in this scene, you even say in your confessionals that it's in your best interest to make up with Portia because she's bigger than you and she'll beat your ass. That was actually really funny, but you told on yourself. You told on yourself. And another time that you told on yourself in this scene, in this episode, was at the top of the episode when they were in that Sprinter van, when you were going off about Portia and you said she doesn't run me and she doesn't run Atlanta. When has Portia ever said she ran Atlanta? It's like you're having you're having fights with people in your own head. You're making up scenarios in your own head. And it's just so funny how you sit here, you make up with her, and now all your central focus energy is now on Drew. This is what you're Drew. It's like, girl, whatever. I can't. I can't. I don't know. I was rooting for you to be on this show, but you came on here and you just exposed yourself to be even more ridiculous. You've proven that you are the problem. You are the Wizard of Oz. You are the man behind the curtain. That's you. All right, for the beginning of the main event. So Shamia and Angela meet up. Shamia looked great. She was wearing, what was that, a Jean Paul Gaultier onesie, jumpsuit, cat suit. Sorry. She looked great. Angela looked great. The tension was thick from the moment Portia rolled in, or Portia child. Shamia rolled up. So she sits down. They meet, they have their little pleasantries and they get right into it. So Shamia's like, I don't understand why you keep saying that I'm pot stirring and I'm saying stuff about people in the group, that I'm causing the division. In Dallas, you had a lot to say. And Angela's like, well, yeah, because you keep bringing up stuff. You keep mentioning me. And I'm gonna go back real quick. So when Shamia first gets to the restaurant, she walks in and she says to the hostess, yeah, I'm here for a tall lady with big feet. What is this? I noticed Candace did that shit on Potomac with Mia. Like, is that a read? I'm 5'10. I'm 5'10. I wear a size 11. I got cute feet though. My feet are cute. I don't understand. She's so fucking immature. Like, that's your read. She's got big feet. She's tall. She's a Sasquatch. She's tall. I had a bitch who used to call me Big Bird. We used to crack me up. And I was like, well, Big Bird's awesome. So fuck out of here. Anyway, I'd rather be Sasquatch and Big Bird than a rat with no identity, Shamia. Um, so anyway, they start getting into it. The waitress comes and interrupts. It's funny because it seemed like every time she interrupted them, they were in the thick of it. But she interrupts them to mention that they have these salmon kebabs. I'm not even a salmon fan, but that shit sounded good, and I was waiting for them to order it, and it never showed up because these motherfuckers would not stop arguing. So Angela brings up to Shamia how she goes, I'm not really bothered with you, but you keep bringing up the fact that I broke up your friendship with Portia, and of course, Shamia, I'm not discussing Portia's friendship. I'm not doing that. So then, of course, they reflect back to last year's reunion where she talked about how she felt Portia or she felt that Angela had brought back the information wrong when she was bitching about Portia's friendship to Portia, and we know that she's going to hold that. So of course Angela is calling her out. She's like, you have no identity. You're a lapdog, and that's your problem. You're a lapdog and you're mad about it. And Shamia Shamia can't argue because she knows that she's right. She knows that she's right. I mean, the fact that you're even friends with Kelly just says it all. So Angela brings up the fact that she was like, even you being cool with Candy. She was like, it's because you want to be Candy. And of course, Shamia's like, that's not true. And it's, yeah, you do. You want to be all up in the mix, all up in that. She was like, you have no identity, baby. Um, and of course, Shamia, Drew told you that. No, Drew didn't have to tell you that. The audience is watching. We're all watching. We're all watching in real time. So they keep arguing with each other. The waitress comes up and interrupts them again. It was hilarious. So Shamia starts getting even nastier with Angela and brings up the fact that she has a failed real estate business. So Angela's like, hold up, baby, I'm self made. You had to lay on your back to get what you have. I didn't have to do that. I was already self made. I didn't know that, but she got her on that because Shamia. So they start going back and forth and trading shots about being ho hos. And Angela's like, I know you're not talking. She goes, so is it the Is it the Falcons or the Hawks? Which one is it? What does that mean? So Shamia calls her husband a Sasquatch, and she's like, honey, you go to bed with a Sasquatch every night. Is it the Falcon or the Hawks? They're continuing to argue. Shamia gets up mid argument because you were getting eaten up, girl, and walks outside. So she's talking to the camera outside, and Angela's just sitting there, and of course she still wants to eat. Um, Shamia, you go into fights half cocked, and then you use like schoolyard reads with no substance or merit behind what you're saying to try to win the argument. It's the I know you are, but what am I defense mechanism. Anyway, this was a good episode. This season is going to get even more interesting. I'm just curious. I can't wait for this reunion. We're only on episode 9 and they're the girls. I can't wait for this reunion. Anyway, happy Monday. Have a great week. Gemini season. My birthday is in 17 days, y'all. Yes, turning 45. Anyway, be nice to each other, stay hydrated, stay awesome, and I'm gonna go return these videotapes.